If someone told me a year ago that my marriage would unravel like a cheap sweater, I would have laughed in their face. I'm 35, my wife, let's call her Rachel, is 33. We've been married for 6 years, together for 8. On the outside, we were the couple people envied. Stable jobs, decent house, a dog named Mila that we both spoiled like a child. We had matching Christmas pajamas, inside jokes, and our song on Spotify playlists. Instagram perfect life, right? Well, that's the thing about perfection. It hides rot pretty well. It started small, too small to notice, really. Rachel began working late more often, claiming her office was understaffed. At first, I didn't question it. She's always been ambitious, career-driven. I admired that about her. But it gradually turned into missing dinners, ignoring texts, and always being too tired for anything intimate. She used to touch me absent-mindedly when we watched TV, or slide her hand into mine while walking through Target. That stopped. I chalked it up to stress. Maybe she was just overwhelmed. So, I planned a weekend getaway. Just the two of us. I booked a cozy cabin, brought her favorite wine, even tried to cook. She barely smiled. No gratitude, no warmth. The whole trip felt like I was dragging a corpse around. Something felt off, but I didn't want to admit it. I thought maybe I was just being needy or insecure. I mean, marriages go through dry spells, right? That's what everyone says. But there was a moment that broke me a little. We were watching a movie, her favorite, and she got a text. She turned her phone face down and suddenly said she was tired and heading to bed. I followed her 10 minutes later and found her in the bathroom, texting. She quickly put the phone away when I walked in, gave me some flimsy excuse about work stuff, and brushed past me like I was furniture. I didn't sleep that night. I just laid there staring at the ceiling, with Milo curled up at my feet and a knot in my gut that wouldn't go away. That was the first night I truly wondered, is my wife cheating on me? After that sleepless night, something inside me shifted. I've never been the jealous type. I always trusted Rachel. I mean, what's a marriage without trust, right? But now, everything felt suspicious. Every notification on her phone, every unexplained late night, every cold shoulder. I started noticing things I had ignored before. She had changed her phone's passcode a few months back and never told me. She used to leave it lying around, now it was always either in her pocket or face down on the counter. And she started sleeping with it under her pillow. I knew I was losing my mind, and it made me feel pathetic. But I couldn't ignore my gut anymore. One evening, I waited for her to fall asleep. I just laid there, pretending to be out cold. Around 1:30 a.m., I felt her shift in bed. She picked up her phone slowly, like she'd done it 100 times. I cracked one eye open. The glow of the screen lit up her face in the dark. She was smiling. A soft, stupid smile I hadn't seen in months. Then she started typing. My heart was pounding so loud I was sure she could hear it. She eventually dozed off with the phone still clutched in her hand. I waited until her breathing settled into that slow, steady rhythm. Then I gently pried the phone out of her fingers and tiptoed to the bathroom. I locked the door. My hands were shaking. Wrong passcode. Again. And again. Then I got it. Her birthday, backward. She always liked doing things in reverse. The phone unlocked. What I saw hit me like a freight train. A guy named Danny, wine glass emoji. That emoji made me sick. Hundreds of texts. Some romantic, others flat out explicit. I saw pictures, ones I never got, ones I didn't even know she took. Inside jokes. Plans. Hotel reservations. Worst of all? She had texted him the night I took her on that cabin getaway. Wish I was with you instead. This is torture. Torture. I sat there on the cold tile floor, staring at my wife's betrayal spelled out in glowing blue bubbles, feeling like my chest was being crushed from the inside. I didn't cry. I just shut down. I quietly placed the phone back under her pillow and stared at the ceiling until sunrise. I didn't say anything that morning. Rachel woke up, stretched, kissed me on the cheek like nothing was wrong. Like she hadn't just betrayed everything we built together. I felt numb. Like I was watching my life through a frosted window. She got ready for work, humming as she brushed her hair. She even wore that red blouse I'd always loved on her. The one she knew drove me crazy. I couldn't help but wonder, was she wearing it for me? Or for him? After she left, I called in sick. I couldn't function. I sat in the living room for hours with Milo on my lap, just trying to breathe. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that text, "Wish I was with you instead." This is torture. By the time she got home that evening, I had decided I needed to confront her. No more pretending. No more silence. She walked in and started taking off her heels, chatting casually about some meeting at work. I stood there, waiting. When she finally looked up and saw my face, her smile faded. "Hey, what's wrong?" she asked, brows furrowed like she actually cared. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't throw things or scream. I just asked one question. "Who's Danny?" Her face froze. I saw the blood drain from her cheeks in real time. For a second, she didn't say a word. Then she forced a laugh, nervous, high-pitched. "Danny? What are you talking about?" I kept my stare locked on her. "The one you texted 1 a.m. The one you sent pictures to. The one you called a better kisser than me. That Danny." That's when the switch flipped. She got defensive, fast. "Why were you going through my phone? That's an invasion of privacy." I almost laughed. Privacy? After everything? She started spinning lies. Said he was a friend from work. Claimed the messages were jokes. Said I was overreacting. That nothing physical ever happened. But I had seen the dates. The locations. The hotel confirmations. Her selfies in a towel with his name captioned underneath. "Stop lying, Rachel," I said quietly. "You've already destroyed this. Just stop." She folded her arms, muttered something about me being paranoid and insecure, and stormed upstairs. And that was it. No apology. No explanation. Just gaslighting and attitude. I sat alone that night, knowing the woman I loved didn't exist anymore. The next few days were a psychological war zone. After our confrontation, Rachel pretended nothing happened. Seriously, nothing. She cooked dinner, scrolled through her phone on the couch, even asked if I wanted to binge a new Netflix series with her. It was like she hit a reset button and assumed I'd play along. But I couldn't. I couldn't look at her without hearing those texts echo in my head. "You make me feel alive again. I wish you were the one I came home to." I tried to bring it up again the next evening. I asked her, calmly, why she couldn't just be honest with me. Her eyes narrowed like I'd insulted her. "Oh my God, are we really still doing this?" she snapped. "You're seriously acting like I'm some kind of monster because I had a conversation with someone?" "A conversation?" I repeated. "Is that what we're calling it now?" She rolled her eyes and went back to her phone. Not even the decency to argue. Then came the guilt-tripping. "You never listen to me," she said one night. "You're always working, always distracted." I felt invisible. I admit, that hit me. I had been working a lot. But I did it for us. For the life we were building. Not so she could find validation in the arms of another man. She even had the audacity to say, "If you had paid more attention to me, maybe I wouldn't have needed to talk to someone else." Needed? That word lit me on fire inside. Like cheating was some need I failed to provide for. Like I should take responsibility for her infidelity. But here's the wildest part, she started turning it around on me, accusing me of emotional neglect, of being too cold, of making her feel unwanted. Every sentence out of her mouth was twisted to make herself the victim. It was like talking to a mirror that only showed you your flaws, and none of hers. I realized then, she wasn't sorry. Not even a little bit. She wasn't broken about what she'd done. She was broken that I found out. And that hurt worse than any affair. If I thought I'd already hit rock bottom, Rachel proved there was still room to fall. It was the fourth day after the confrontation, and we were barely talking. I was sleeping on the couch, Milo by my side like he could feel the tension. The air in the house felt heavy, like a storm was always just about to break. That night, Rachel came downstairs with a smug look I hadn't seen before. Like she was about to drop some kind of gotcha moment. "You know," she said, arms folded, "maybe you should ask Tyler what you've been like lately." Tyler. My best friend. My brother in everything but blood. The guy who stood beside me at our wedding, gave a toast about forever love, and helped me move furniture into this house. That Tyler. "What the hell does he have to do with this?" I asked. "Oh, I don't know," she said, casually picking lint off her hoodie. "Maybe because he's seen how cold you've been. He agrees with me, by the way." My heart skipped. "You talked to him about this?" She shrugged like it was no big deal. "Of course. I needed someone to talk to. And he's your best friend, he knows you." Now I was livid. She didn't just cheat, She tried to weaponize the one person I trusted most. I called Tyler the next morning. I needed to hear it from him. At first, he was awkward. Hesitant. Then he finally admitted she'd been texting him the past few weeks, telling him I'd been emotionally distant, that she didn't feel valued, that I wasn't the same man anymore. I asked him straight up, "Did you know she was cheating?" There was a pause. Then he said, "No. But I had a feeling." That silence? It felt like another betrayal. He knew. Maybe not the details, but he knew something wasn't right. And he said nothing. I hung up the phone shaking. The two people I trusted most had been whispering behind my back. One cheating. The other silently watching it happen. It wasn't just the affair anymore. It was the complete collapse of the world I thought I knew. And the scariest part? I wasn't even close to the bottom yet. I used to think cheaters had some basic sense of guilt. That they'd hide, cry, maybe even beg for forgiveness. Not Rachel. She doubled down. The day after I confronted Tyler, she called my parents. Yeah. My parents. I came home from a long, miserable shift to find 3 missed calls from my mom. I called her back, and the first thing she asked was, "Is everything okay between you and Rachel?" She said, "You've been distant." Distant. There it was again. I could barely speak. "Mom, did she tell you I've been a bad husband?" She sighed. She said she's been feeling neglected, like you've shut down emotionally. She sounded really upset, honey. I was stunned. My wife, who had been sneaking around with another man, was now running a PR campaign to make me look like the bad guy. She painted herself as the poor, ignored wife who had no choice but to find comfort elsewhere. I felt sick. But she didn't stop there. Over the next few days, I heard from mutual friends. People we'd known for years. They were messaging me with lines like, "Hey man, I hope you and Rachel work it out and she really loves you, maybe you guys just need a break." She'd told everyone. Except not the truth. She never once mentioned the affair. Just that I had grown cold, I had stopped trying, and she was heartbroken. Heartbroken? She was texting her side piece while lying next to me in bed, and I'm the villain? I finally confronted her about it. Asked her why she was dragging my name through the mud. Her response? Because nobody would understand if I told them the truth. No apology. No shame. Just a calculated campaign to protect her reputation. She didn't care about our marriage. She cared about how she looked. About playing the role of the wounded wife while privately living like a single woman. At that moment, I realized something. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was about manipulation. This woman wasn't just cheating on me, she was rebuilding the narrative around her, brick by brick, lie by lie. And I was done being part of it. Something snapped in me after that last conversation. Rachel thought she could control the story. Turn everyone against me. Gaslight me into silence. And for a while. It worked. I let her dictate the terms. I let her talk over the truth. But not anymore. That night, I pulled up every screenshot I had. The texts. The pictures. The hotel confirmations. All of it. I organized everything into a folder titled Reality Check. It was like building a case in court, except the judge was everyone she'd lied to. I started with my parents. I drove over to their house the next morning and sat them down. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. "I need you to see the truth," I said. I showed them the texts. The lies. The messages she sent Danny while we were still sleeping in the same bed. I watched my mom's face turn pale. My dad just sat there, jaw clenched, silent. "She told you I was neglecting her," I said. "This is what she was really doing." It was quiet for a long time. Then my dad stood up and said, "She played us all." One by one, I started reaching out to the friends she'd manipulated. I didn't rant or scream. I simply sent them the folder. No explanation. Just, "I think you deserve to see the full picture." The reactions? They ranged from stunned silence to angry apologies. A few people admitted they'd suspected something wasn't right, but didn't know what to believe. One friend even said, "I feel like I've been defending a stranger." But the most satisfying moment? Tyler. I sent him the screenshots too. And then I blocked him. No message. No closure. Just silence. He didn't deserve a word more. That night, Rachel came home to find me packing a suitcase. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice sharp. "I'm done pretending," I said. "Everyone knows. The story's out. The truth's out. You don't get to rewrite reality anymore." Her face dropped. For the first time since this all started, she looked nervous. Good. I wasn't just reclaiming my life. I was reclaiming my dignity. The truth was out. The lies, the gaslighting, the betrayal, it all came crashing down around Rachel like a house of cards. And for the first time, she was exposed. At first, she tried silence. Passive-aggressive stomping around the house, slamming cabinets, sighing loudly like she was the victim. She'd glance at me like I owed her something. Like I was being unfair for telling the truth. But then came the switch. She woke up one morning and decided to play the remorseful wife card. She brought me coffee, my order, black with 2 sugars, like nothing ever happened. Said things like we've been through so much together and can't we just start over? Start over? As if the past few weeks didn't happen. As if she didn't crawl into bed with another man while looking me in the eye and saying, "I love you." I said nothing. She started texting me from the next room. Literal texts. "I miss you. We can fix this. Please don't throw us away." The desperation made my skin crawl. Later that night, she pulled out our old wedding album. Just placed it on the kitchen table like a bomb. Opened it to the page where we were saying our vows. I caught her sitting there, looking at it, pretending to cry. I stood in the doorway, arms crossed. She looked up and whispered, "I made a mistake. I got lost. But I never stopped loving you." I wanted to scream. Mistake? A mistake is leaving the stove on. Forgetting a birthday. Not carrying out an emotional and physical affair with someone for months and then lying to everyone about it. "You didn't make a mistake," I said. "You made a choice. Over and over again." She broke down. Full-on sobbing. Said she was scared. Said she didn't know who she was anymore. Begged me not to leave. But it was all too convenient. Too calculated. She didn't cry when I first found out. She didn't cry when I slept on the couch. She only cried when her lies caught up to her. I didn't feel pity. I felt peace. Because in that moment, I knew I was finally ready to walk away. I left that night. Not forever, at least not yet. But I packed a bag, grabbed Milo, and walked out the door without saying a word. I needed space. Clarity. Air that didn't smell like lies and perfume I didn't recognize. I went to my brother's house 2 towns over. Slept in his guest room with my dog curled at my feet and my heart pounding like a war drum. It wasn't peaceful, not yet, but it was the first time in weeks I didn't feel trapped. The next morning? My phone lit up like a Christmas tree. Rachel had texted me 17 times. Left 6 voicemails. Each message more chaotic than the last. "I miss you. We can fix this. Are you seriously doing this? After everything I've done for you? You're abandoning your wife like a coward." That last one hit me hard. Not because it hurt, but because it proved she still didn't get it. She betrayed me. She lied. She turned me into the villain in a story where I was the only one trying to keep us alive. I didn't respond. So she upped the drama. That afternoon, she posted a picture of us on Instagram with the caption, "Fighting for us. Love always wins." Comments flooded in from her friends. "Stay strong," broken heart emoji. "You two are meant to be. Praying for your marriage." She was still performing. Still trying to spin the narrative like this was a rough patch, not a full-blown betrayal. I could have exposed it right there. Could have commented the truth, posted the screenshots, burned the mask she wore to ash. But I didn't. Because I didn't need validation from strangers. I needed freedom. And that started with choosing peace over revenge. Later that night, she called me. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice trembled, real this time. "I can't sleep. I don't know how to live without you." And for a moment, I almost felt something. Pity, maybe. Nostalgia. But it passed. Because I remembered who I was now. A man who had finally stopped apologizing for someone else's betrayal. 3 days passed before I made my decision. No more limbo. No more confusion. No more maybe we can fix it. I was done. Done trying. Done caring. I contacted a divorce attorney. The moment I hit send on the initial consultation form, I felt like I could finally breathe. Like I'd been underwater for months, and this was the first gulp of real air. It wasn't a relief exactly, but it was clarity. And clarity, after everything, felt like a miracle. I didn't tell Rachel right away. I needed to prepare. Logistically. Emotionally. Strategically. But she must have felt it. The silence. The shift. Because that night, she escalated. I was sitting at my brother's place, watching Milo doze by the window, when my phone buzzed. A photo. From Rachel. Of a box. A small cardboard box on our bed, filled with framed photos, a few of my hoodies, and, this is the part that made my jaw clench, my grandfather's watch. The one I told her never to touch. Followed by a text. Come get your stuff. Or I'll donate it. I'm done waiting. It was the most passive-aggressive, manipulative, emotionally stunted tantrum I had ever seen. She wasn't heartbroken, she was losing control. And it was driving her insane. I didn't respond. 5 minutes later. I can't believe you're throwing this away. 10 minutes later. You're a coward. Then. Maybe I'll tell people you cheated. Ever think of that? That one did it. She'd already lied to my friends. Already twisted the story to my parents. Now she was threatening to rewrite reality again, only this time, she wanted to punish me for leaving. And that's when I knew, she didn't love me. She never did. She loved owning me. The way a narcissist loves a mirror. As long as I reflected the version of herself she wanted to see, she kept me close. The second I stopped playing along, she shattered it. I called my lawyer that night. Told him to move forward, full speed. And I blocked her number. No more calls. No more texts. No more games. This wasn't heartbreak anymore. This was survival. Just when I thought Rachel couldn't stoop any lower, she proved me wrong. After I blocked her, I thought she'd finally give up. Maybe lick her wounds in silence. But nope. She went nuclear. A week later, I started hearing rumors from mutual friends, whispers about a scandalous news story Rachel was spinning. That I had cheated on her, been emotionally abusive, and even worse. Worse? She dragged my little sister into it. Apparently, Rachel had told my family and some friends that my sister was the other woman. That my affair with her was why our marriage was falling apart. I couldn't believe it. My sister, who has always been like a best friend to me, was suddenly painted as some homewrecker. I called my sister immediately. She was devastated, confused, and hurt. Why would she say something so horrible? She asked. I didn't have an answer. But I knew one thing, Rachel was desperate. So desperate that she was willing to destroy innocent people just to save her own skin. I confronted her one last time. Not with anger, not with pleading. Just cold, hard facts. Stop lying about my family. Stop dragging people who have nothing to do with this into your mess. If you want the truth to come out, then tell it. Her response? Silence. Then, a text, believe what you want. That was the last I heard from her. I started documenting everything. Every lie, every message, every rumor. For the first time, I was building a shield, not just for myself, but for my family. The pain of betrayal was still there, but so was a new strength. A resolve to protect those I loved from her lies. It's been months since that text. The dust is settling. The truth is out, slowly but surely. And I'm finally starting to heal. Months have passed since I walked away from Rachel and everything we built. And I won't lie, it's been one hell of a journey. The first few weeks after the dust settled were the hardest. I felt empty, broken in ways I didn't even know existed. I kept replaying every moment, every smile, every lie she told. Sometimes I'd catch myself wondering if I missed her. Then I'd remember why I left. Therapy helped, more than I expected. Talking to someone who listened without judgment, who didn't sugarcoat things, made me realize how deep the wound was. Betrayal isn't just about cheating. It's about trust broken, self-worth shattered, and the nightmare of realizing someone you love so much was living a double life. I started small, going out with friends again, taking Milo on longer walks, and rediscovering hobbies I'd let go of. I was terrified of trusting people again, especially women. But with time, I learned that not everyone is like Rachel. That there are good people out there who don't play games or hide secrets. I also learned something important: forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting or excusing what happened. It means freeing yourself from the poison of anger and bitterness. I don't know if I'll ever forgive Rachel fully, but I'm working on forgiving myself for trusting her so deeply. Some days are harder than others. Some nights, the loneliness creeps back in. But I'm building a new life, one where I'm the priority. Where my happiness isn't tied to someone else's lies. If you're reading this because you're in the middle of betrayal, I want you to know this. You're not alone. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to cry. But don't lose yourself. Keep fighting for your peace. Because you deserve it. This story isn't just about pain. It's about resilience. About learning to stand up again, even when you're broken. And that's exactly what I'm doing. After the storm, I realized something important: I couldn't do this alone. For months, I isolated myself. I avoided friends, canceled plans, convinced myself that no one would understand or want to get involved in my mess. But loneliness became its own kind of prison. Slowly, I started reaching out, first to the few friends I still trusted, then to some people I'd lost touch with over the years. I was nervous. What if they judged me? What if they sided with Rachel? To my surprise, most were supportive. Not just in a sorry for your pain way, but actively helping me heal. One friend invited me to a weekly game night. Another encouraged me to join a local hiking group. These small acts reminded me that life still had joy and connection. Even Milo helped. He's been my constant companion, a reminder that unconditional love still exists. Taking care of him gave me purpose beyond my heartbreak. At some point, I started therapy again, not because I was falling apart, but because I wanted to grow. To understand why I let this happen, how to set better boundaries, and how to rebuild trust, not just in others but in myself. And here's a truth I never expected to learn: sometimes, support comes from the most unexpected places. A co-worker I barely knew became someone I could talk to during lunch breaks. A neighbor invited me to join a community volunteer group. These connections didn't replace what I lost, but they helped build something new, something honest and real. Rebuilding isn't easy. Some days I still feel angry, others lonely. But each day, I'm choosing to move forward. If you're hurting from betrayal, don't shut the world out. Reach out. You don't have to carry this alone. There's strength in vulnerability. I'm not fixed yet, but I'm on my way. And for the first time in a long time, I believe in the possibility of happiness again. Trust. Such a simple word, but after what happened with Rachel, it felt impossible to believe in. For a long time, I was scared. Scared to open my heart, scared to let someone close enough to hurt me again. I kept my guard up like a fortress, convinced that if I let it down even a little, I'd be betrayed all over again. But healing taught me that trust isn't a switch you flip, it's a process. A slow, sometimes painful process of giving people a chance to show they're different. I started small. Letting friends in on things I usually kept private. Saying no to isolation. Being honest about my fears. It wasn't easy. Every time I reached out, a voice in my head whispered, "What if they're just like her?" And yet, some people surprised me. They listened without judgment. They didn't run away when things got tough. And that made me realize, trust isn't about never being hurt. It's about knowing you can survive when you are. Eventually, I met someone new. Not through dating apps or wild nights out, but through a mutual hobby, a photography class I joined to keep busy. She was kind, patient, and, most importantly, real. We took things slow. I was upfront about my past, my fears, my scars. She didn't run. She listened. She understood. For the first time in years, I felt hope. Hope that love doesn't have to mean pain. That I could build something honest and lasting. Of course, I'm still healing. The scars are there. Some days, I feel the sting of betrayal all over again. But I'm learning to carry those scars like badges of survival, not chains that hold me back. If you're reading this because you're afraid to trust again, I get it. I've been there. But don't let fear steal your chance at happiness. Healing is messy and slow, but it's possible. You're stronger than you think. And so am I. Looking back, I never imagined I'd be here, sharing my story, raw and unfiltered, about the woman I trusted most who tore my world apart. But here I am. If there's one thing I've learned from this nightmare, it's that betrayal is never just about cheating. It's about broken trust, shattered self-worth, and the long, painful climb back to yourself. You might feel lost, angry, confused. And that's okay. Those feelings are real, valid, and necessary. But don't let them define you. Here's what I want anyone going through something like this to know. First, trust your gut. If something feels off, don't ignore it. Listen to those quiet alarms inside you. Second, don't stay silent. Confront the truth, even when it's painful. Secrets and lies only grow in the dark. Third, lean on your support system. Friends, family, professionals, don't carry this alone. Fourth, Remember that healing is not linear. You'll have good days and bad days. Be patient with yourself. 5th, don't confuse forgiveness with forgetting. Forgiving is about freeing yourself, not excusing someone else's behavior. And finally, remember your worth. You deserve honesty, respect, and love that doesn't hurt you. My story doesn't end here. I'm still healing. Still learning. But I'm hopeful. Hopeful that one day, the pain won't sting as much. That I'll find happiness again, maybe even love. If you're listening to this, and you're in the middle of heartbreak, know this, you're not alone. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, even if it's hard to see now. Thank you for hearing my story. If it helped even a little, please subscribe to follow the rest of my journey and others like it. We're in this together.